Okay, so what is going on, everybody? I am Lee Hammock, diagnosed self-aware narcissist known as mental illness. And today we're with Miss Nikki Giavasis. How you doing, Miss Nikki?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm very, very good. I can't talk today. My language is messing up today. So we got Nikki on here today. Going to be talking about her relationships with narcissists and toxic people, possible red flags, things to look out for. Her experiences overall with toxic people. It's just gonna be, y'all gonna love this one, I promise you.
It's a page turner.
Yeah, it definitely is a page turner. It is a lot because you've had to get there's restraining orders, there's wildness, fake pages. There's a lot going on here. I think it'll help out a lot of people that might be going through similar experiences and things like that. So
And that's the reason to do this, to help people, because I've already been through the mud. So now to be cleaning myself off, it's time to help some people.
But some mud has healing properties. Sometimes people willingly take mud baths. I saw one today. It's just like a healing mud bath because it had nutrients and stuff like that. So some mud is not all mud is bad mud.
I feel like despite the pain and all the torture, I feel like I came like it was a benefit on the other side. After the pain, I feel better, stronger, smarter.
I feel like that's a good way to look at it. When I'm talking to people that are dealing with relationships with narcissists and toxic people, and they get out of it, that's still a good way to look at it. Try to reframe your experience as to what you learn from it and things like that. I think Dr. Eric Thomas said, recycle your pain. You already went through it. Get something from it. Use it. He said, use it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes. I look at it like alchemizing. Like when you alchemize it, then you take that pain, you turn it into power, and then you help other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like Eric Thomas, he hits on that. That ET hits on a lot of that stuff. Just using your pain and what you've experienced to help other people. So yeah, just manifesting it into something different. Just kind of bottling it up and using it for good.
Exactly. That's the key.
Yeah, it is. It's major key. So what you say? So I think you said you had back-to-back relationships. You say with some possibly toxic people, narcissistic people.
Yeah, and I used to not want to speak on it. I wanted to just, they say turn the other cheek and you move on. But after more and more and more victims, or whatever you want to call them, but other people who dealt with the same situations or worse reached out to me, I was like, I'm doing a disservice if I don't say something, because it's like chilling to me to experience so much of a person who puts on like such a facade, and then to act, just like delete the person, act like nothing happened. And then they go on to do it to the next and do it to the next. And
heavy right there, because I think some people get in that situation and you feel like if you would have spoken up and I guess told the next person, reached out to the next person, you could have possibly, maybe saved that person or help them avoid some hurt. But I think a lot of people get to the point where you realize even sometimes if you reach out to the next person, you can't, they won't listen regardless. They'll just think they're better equipped to handle that person than you were. They'll just say something like, sorry, thanks, Nikki. Thanks, big fan. Follow your Instagram, but I got this. Thanks.
Exactly. He told me you were crazy and you had all these other issues, and we're just, you still want him. That's always the thing. You still want him. Not knowing I blocked this person, got a restraining order, kicked him to the curb. But I'm gonna do better. So sorry that you're jealous.
Yeah, and it happens a lot. So even if you warn the new supply or the next person, it won't always be it won't work out. You might clear your conscience, like, hey, look, I told you, but then the other person might stay regardless. That regardless, they're like that. Thanks for your concern, but we got this. I got this. And then so like the first person, narcissistic person, whatever. Where did you meet this person at? Was it online or person?
Well, actually, before you say that, you just gave me a memory, because that happened to me where I met a person at a Grammy party when I first moved to LA, and that was the first narcissist in LA. And his ex kept reaching out to me, trying to warn me, and her doing that made me stay with him so much longer, because it was almost like a battle between me and her. Even though I had all the problems with him, it was because she wanted him back, and she said all this stuff to me, and she'd like post all these blogs about me. So I was like, okay. I would have dumped him probably in a month. It ended up being 4 years.
Oh, see, but that shows you sometimes when you reach out to the next person, even in your situation, you might think that they want them back. Like, you just want them back. You're saying this stuff because you want them back. And it makes you, sometimes it makes you go harder in the relationship. It makes you stay through things that you might not have, you might should have left from, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, I would have left. Yeah. Even like he was saying she's crazy, she's obsessed with me, all those things. But she did take him back because she thought I wanted him once I dumped him. And then she had to get a restraining order, and everything that he did to me that she was trying to interfere with came out into the public about her. And I was like, Karma, God is, whoa. And I even helped her in court because I was like, even despite all you did, I know like you guys had, she went and had another kid with him. And I'm just like, oh my, and then she had to leave him, and then he went on to the next girl and did it to her.
Yeah. It doesn't, like I said, you can try as hard as you want to stop it, but there's, you can't help everybody. And as I said, just telling your story might not help the new supply, but it might help other people who are willing to listen to it. Like you said, like the people who need it are going to receive it. Other people will just scroll by, like, I don't want to hear that. But people who need it at the right moment, you might change somebody's life. You just never know. Like just me telling my story, people feel like I've changed their life, and I'm just literally just telling my story. Some people just scroll by. I get blocked by a lot of people I've never heard of before. They're just like, I'll try to click on their page. They're like, hey, Lee, have you heard of this person? I was like, no, let me click on their page. Instagram does not exist. I was like, well,
it's probably the narcissist blocked you so the person can't see your page.
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of them get preemptive and things like that. So you said, but the first toxic relationship, you said that you had to get a restraining order on this person.
Yeah, well, if we go way back, I've had to get more than one.
More than one?
Yeah. Like the last one was after, that's how I found you. I had to get a restraining order on that person because that person had this whole image of being a person of God, so spiritual, so nice, doesn't cuss. But behind closed doors, this person was abusive, alcoholic, drug addict. Like I did a background search, and it was like 2 decades of like drug felonies, arrests, assaults, thefts. I started getting cameras because he was like going through my house, and I was like, why does this man go through my house at night? And it turned out like I would leave the room, he'd like kick my dog. He's over there trying to act like he's a dog lover. He's like tasing my dog, like doing all this like secret abuse.
Wow.
But to the world, he's like, oh, I'm such a great man. I'm so holy. I'm so nice.
Religious and spiritual manipulation are absolutely 100% real. People just, they use, I call it the guise of God. They use God as a cover for who they really are. They just put it in, they put, hey, I'm holy. They kind of float up on you. Don't even walk. They kind of float up on you and just be like, hey, I don't cuss. I don't do any of this. And then behind the scenes be evil. Behind the scenes be like evil, like you said, tasing dogs and doing things like that. So do you have a point where you feel like you got into the relationship with that person, and how did that one come to an end right there?
Oh God, it started getting to the point where he was isolating me from my family. He was like trying to cause drama. So, talking about my family members, my friends, like everyone was a problem. And then he was just more so trying to get into my connections. He was in my space. He wouldn't leave. And he started trying to belittle me and trying to break down my self-esteem more. So it was like he would kind of coerce me and emotionally blackmail me into posting him. So if I wasn't posting him, he'd be like, oh, see, you're embarrassed of me. So he was just like trying to use me for it because he knew and he's like, I know that like you could have me getting booked. He was basically trying to use me and I was like, I've done this for 20 years. I'm not just going to give away everything I've done and learned and who I know just because you want it. He's like, you're not helping me manifest. And I was getting blamed for everything. He's like, you're not a boss. But he started telling me I was like overweight. He was saying I needed to lose weight. He was like, you think you're in shape, but you're not in shape. Like he started kept telling me I was fat. And then the worst part was like, he started, like I'd be sleeping and he'd start punching me in my sleep. Like, and I'd wake up to like, this man's big. And he'd be like, and like hit me in my back. And he'd be like, oh, I was dreaming. But he couldn't sleep at night. And turned out he was like, I found out addicted to drugs. So he's up all night, like going through my stuff, going through my bank statements. So once he started hitting me and threatening me and saying I'm his enemy, and then he tased my dog, and then he killed his other dogs. Like it was horrible. Yeah. And so finally he left one day. I locked him out for a second. When he came back, I was just like, I need you to pack your stuff and go. Like cold turkey.
Did he go with? That's a superpower right there to go be able to go cold turkey like that, pack yourself and go. Did he put up any kind of fight?
Oh yeah, for hours. He was fighting the whole time. He was attacking. He was blaming me. He's like, "You do this to men. This is your fault. Like, I've just been trying to love you, and you just have all these problems." He tried to put it all on me.
Yes.
And I had cameras, but he like later hacked my cameras, deleting all the evidence of like what he did to the dogs, like to me. He's a smart criminal.
Yeah,
he's really smart.
But that's typical. What you just said is kind of it's not super typical, but it's just like very, very, toxic narcissistic behavior, just the whole trying to make you feel insecure about yourself and things like that. And you're not a boss, you can't help me. I'm just curious, like, how do you manifest something for someone else? Like, how do you help them manifest something? I think manifestation comes from within, but you're not helping him make his manifestation come true. Like a lot of, people like that in that situation will make excuses for where they are and not where they are by blaming the other person the closest to them. Like, you claim to be this big time person, but you're not doing this. You're not a boss, and you know what? You're not that fit either. You don't. They just start attacking your insecurities and things like that to make you feel less than. And if they say it enough, and you stay in a relationship long enough, sometimes you start to believe it. Sometimes they condition you to believe that behavior is that stuff is true in your head. Now, it might not be true in real life, but in your mind, it's like you might walk by a mirror and be like. You might think about it. You might be like, is he telling the truth? This ain't, is he true? Do I look like this?
Because they learn you in the beginning when they're love bombing, because he's like, tell me everything about you so I won't be like any of those things. So he's learning every insecurity. So he's like, yeah, I'm a trainer. Like, you think you look like, he tried to get into my head in every way that would hurt me. Mm-hmm. And so I did lose weight because he's like, your butt's too big. Like, you need to tighten it up. Like, everything was too thick. Thick was bad. Yeah. He acted like I was obese, basically.
But would you say he got you while he got you while you look like that? But now it's an issue.
Yep, wanted to change me.
Yeah, and I say that to a lot of people. The same, like when you deal with narcissists and toxic people, the same things that they fall in love with you for, the same things that attract them to you, they end up hating or pointing out and trying to make you insecure about. He's just like, yeah, you look fit, you got a nice body, and all of a sudden now you're just like. I don't know, nothing. It's nothing. Like what?
Right.
Your arms is a little jiggly. Just some tricep pull. I'm a trainer. The tricep pull downs will help you get rid of that right there. Just extra. Just stuff like that. It gets into your mind. It really, really does. A lot of people do that, and they condition you to, again, you don't think about it at first. You don't believe it at first, but after a while, they keep saying and repeating it over and over again. You might start to walk by a mirror. You see yourself. You're like. Absolutely nothing has changed about you, but you think it has because you're just like, wait, is this what he's talking about? And it gets into your head, and you start to try to make those changes.
Yeah.
But it also gets to the point where if you're dealing with somebody like that, no amount of changes that you do to yourself will be enough. They just you'll always be changing and working on yourself and trying to fit this image that they've created of you in their heads. So you can't do that. You'll never. That's an unattainable image for anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I realized that was what was happening. I was like, no matter what I did, it was some new thing had to change. Like, oh, I don't know, whatever. Like, you're not cooking enough. You're not cleaning enough. You're not a boss. You're not booking me. You're not manifesting for me. And then I had all these other girls hit me up after that. They saw I deleted him, and they're like, he did that to me. He told me I needed to get on I guess each girl, he would do the same thing.
Yep, it becomes a pattern. That's when it becomes an issue. I think a lot of people hear the word narcissist and they think it's just one thing, but it's a continuous pattern of behaviors that they've established. Like that's why I say when I'm doing my skits online and stuff like that, they resonate with a lot of people because it's just a pattern. It's like that happened to me. I'm telling you, I shoot those skits. I do them. I'll be sitting right here doing something. I'm like, let me shoot this skit. It take 3 minutes off the top of my head. I just go. I'll make up the wildest scenarios, and people just like, oh my God, this is spot on. I'm like, how is this spot on? How? How?
But it is.
How? That's what I said. How? I was like, how? I just literally, I was just like, wow. And you see the scope of people that go through it. You know what I mean? You're a public figure. You're in the public eye. There's people who are not public figures. There are people, but like I said, everybody, it can happen to anybody. Absolutely. Right. People think they you elevate to a certain level, you like rise above the narcissist. You're like, okay, I'm up here now. The narcissist is way down there. Nope, they up here with you, you know, or they follow you, they trail onto you, or they try to while you rising up, they try to grab onto you and ride your wave, kind of like you said this previous person did. Just like, you're not booking you enough, you're not doing this enough, you're not doing this for me. Like he was trying to ride your wave right there, you know, that type of stuff. It happens all the time, you know.
Literally did ride it, you know, to play that off into other opportunities that he probably wouldn't have had because he was here. And then by using my name and whatever he did with this smear campaign, even though I made him sign an NDA because I was like, don't ever mention me, don't ever post me, like forget you met me. He did, you know, try to move that into whatever opportunity. But it's like, I think when you're a public figure or just anyone with social media, they have a chance to study you more and learn all the things to say to act like you're so similar. And so when they're love bombing, it's like, oh my God, we're soulmates. Like, you know, everything is so similar because they've studied you.
And that's why I say social media, dating apps are narcissist playgrounds. They just are, because you put your information is out there for people to see, and they gather it and they create these kind of narcissistic toxic masks on the spot based on you. That my mask for you would be different than my mask for this person. So I'm just like saying you like, okay, so like this. All of a sudden, guess what I'm doing now? Guess my favorite exercises now. I'm a yogi. Like I got my mat right. I might have a damn a yoga block in the background, just scratching my head with it. It's like, what's that? Oh, it's my yoga block. I'm a yogi, you know.
Yeah. You just happen to be posting it.
Yeah.
Suddenly. Yep. And it's like, wow, I see that we have a lot in common, but you don't know that it's all new.
Yep. You don't know it's all new, but they know they learn you and the stuff that they think they know about you because of social media and things like that. So I tell people, you know, what you post online, people can be creating things to love on you. It just, I mean, don't post a lot of personal details and you can post what you like and things like that, but it's just like, I don't know, social media just, you know, it really is the playground for narcissistic people to thrive on. They will keep thriving, you know. It just is. Because, you know, I say a lot of the dating apps, I think out of all the dating apps, I think Bumble would be a toxic breeding ground for narcissistic men, because the women have to message the men on there first. So I already know you're attracted to me, so I know I can get away with a little bit more stuff. You know, it's like, oh, you message me, so I know you want me. So there's things I can do to you and say to you that I think I can get away with. So
exactly,
those apps, I'm saying, they're catered for people. I just like, they just are. It's literally the playground for narcissistic people and things like that.
But they're giving you the blueprint. I've noticed, like, even with that, they go down to the beginning. They read every caption. They're going through your highlights. They literally get the blueprint to know everything to say to you.
Yeah, I think you said one of your exes was like, he was in your comment section for a long time. Just like, I've been commenting for months or something like that, wasn't he? Or something like that.
It's this guy. This one.
Okay. I was
like, wait a minute, you've been commenting to me for years, and then I found out one of the girls that hit me up about him, she'd commented like years ago. So I was like, what? Wow. Did he see her comment to me and then he like started going after me? Like, why did she comment like 4 years ago and then he hit me up like a couple years ago?
Yeah,
that's weird.
So you've been watching you for years. You see, it's a long study hall right there. Like, Jesus, right? I'm telling you, information gathering is just what people do nowadays. But most narcissists and toxic people are going to try to gather pertinent information catered to you specifically. That's going to work on you. So it's like, it's amazing how similar we are. It's like, I know, you know,
right? It's a mirror.
It literally is a mirror right back to you. It's like, it's crazy how much we have in common. You know, in my mind, I was like, it's not that crazy because I've been watching you for years. Like, you know, it's wild though. You know, so he's been watching you for years. I think didn't he say that to you, something like that? He's like, he told you he was, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But then he also tried to play it off and say that I DM'd him first. I'm like, you were commenting to me for years. I just now see that now that we're sitting here in the living room, I'm like looking at an old post and I see you commented to me years ago. I didn't even comment back. Like, you were on this. So he had time to adjust his image and adjust his demeanor and adjust everything to make it seem like we were so similar.
Yep. Course correct. The course, give him time to course correct, like the Titanic should have. But you know, it goes like that. You know, but it's just like if you would have to say, if you had to like some red flags that you feel like you would say this person exhibited, or possible red flags for people that are looking. You know, if they're like, what should I look out for with narcissists or toxic people? What are the red flags? What would you say are red flags that you think? What do you think would be red flag E?
Well, the first thing, like, I blocked him before I ever met him because I was like, there's an inconsistency. Like, he's saying all of this stuff about God, but then every once in a while he's gonna like take off to Vegas and do like this whole opposite, like almost like party boy, and then try to blame it on his cousin, or like say, oh, that wasn't me, that was my cousin. So I was like, it seems like there's two personalities, but I went against my intuition then because I was like, this seems suspicious. How, if you're so into God, you're definitely not in Vegas doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And it turned out later, as soon as I dumped him, he was in Vegas doing that stuff. Like, that was the real him that I first questioned as a red flag. And then the second thing was how fast he wanted to just jump in. It was like the first visit. It was like, I fell in love with you as soon as I heard your voice. I knew you were the one. I've searched for you for 18 lifetimes. And this is my last time. If I can't be with you, I'm just going to end it. I'm going to delete my social media. Like, I give up on everything. Like, supposedly he's lived all these lifetimes. He's like, it's been like a Rubik's Cube trying to piece the world together to find you. And that, to me, now I'd be like, boy, you go. But at the time, it seemed so romantic. It was like in COVID lockdown. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But now someone did that, I'd be like, no. Like, if you love, like, I've had people I go on dates with, they'll be like, oh, either I love you or I want to have kids first day, first week. And I'm like, nope, goodbye.
Oof.
I still see it. It's still the same thing.
But now it's out there, and you're saying goodbye quick. That's, you see the shift. You learn, like I said, you learn. It is a learning process, because a lot of people would ask the question to you, like, how do I stop attracting narcissists? You can't. You know what I mean? No. You can't stop attracting them, but you can stop to cut off their access to you. Like I said, you might give them a chance, and they just the red flags start waving. You be like, wait, kids? Like, what's your last name? You don't even know their last name. They want to have kids and things like that. They've been searching 18. You said your last boyfriend searched for you for 18 lifetimes. Well, I was searching for 20. So just silliness and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So again, they're just, I don't know, this is wildness. Like I said, I tell people speed is actually the weapon of a narcissistic person. It really is. They try to get you, especially like I said, beautiful public figure, all that, you got all this stuff going for you. They're going to try to get you off the market extremely fast anyway. They'll try to, like, the love bombing has to be, they have to come out the woodworks, you know, first date, I love you. They're going first hour, like, I love you. You know, first hour. They have to try to beat everybody else out.
His first date, he brought 7 ring pops with 24 roses. And so basically he started wearing a ring the second date, and he's like, I'm letting everybody know I'm off the market. I found you finally. Like, he started wearing a ring immediately.
Wow.
And, and I was like, wow, okay. But now I see, like, that's all red flags. If someone tried to move that fast, I'd be like, oh, you must have like no home, or like you're running from something. You're literally running from something, or you need me too much. Like, this is too much urgency. There's something up. Like, you're running from something.
You said no home. Maybe
your lease is about to be up. But even with that guy, like, he tried to portray as if he had like this career happening. And then, like, we're at a store one day and his car gets repossessed, and so that's when the mask really came off, because the whole facade of trying to act like, oh, I think we're on the same level, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, you didn't pay your car note all year just to take me to dinner to pretend you have
no.
It's bad. But it's like, most people wouldn't say that because it's so embarrassing. It's like,
wow. But just like, so you see that, like, but you can you can laugh at it now, but like, you can see why people will see that it's sweet. I got these ring pops. I'm wearing a ring immediately. Things like, you can see why you can see why it works. You know what I mean? I see it right now. I see it like, that's over the top, but I understand how that would work, especially if you're looking for something, like, if you're looking for, like, they figure out what you're looking for. You're looking for something casual, that wouldn't work. You know what I mean? But if you're looking for something long-term, something serious, that works for you. They're like, damn, this person is serious. Like, they got the ring on. They might be sending you pictures like this with the ring on their finger or something like that. Just think about
they're posting it on their story.
Oh, yeah. Doing something like that. They show you how serious they are. They take you off the market. And like I said, I understand how that works. But you see how it works too. But you now know if that happens now or somebody, you see it. Like once it happens, like once you wake up, it's hard not to unsee it now. Like it's just kind of like you see the world through a different lens now. You're like,
yeah, once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. You're like, now I'm awake. Now I'm not going back to the dream. The dream was bullshit. It's like not real.
So when you told, like I said, when you told this first person to like leave and whatnot, was that the actual, was that the end of it all, or did he amp up? Because typically they amp up after you try to cut them off.
It was so bad. Like his car was repossessed, so I had to drive him home because my house was like way out. So he packed up. The whole time he's trying to guilt me, and then I was like, maybe, you'll learn to self-reflect. And he was like, like he didn't want to hear that. And then like he gets out of the car with his dog and all his bags and stuff. And then he's like, I love you forever. And I just started laughing. And he's like, why are you laughing right now? Because he's like fake crying. I say fake because I can't believe it would be real. And he's like, you just don't even care. And I'm like, love is like behavior. Love is not how you've been treating me. Like you hate me and you said I'm your enemy and you want to like hurt me. And I see you're like hurting my dog and hurt your like all these threats. That's not love. You're like assaulting me. Like that's not love. And so once he left, he thought he could get back in because I dumped him months before. Like 2 months in, I dumped him and I let him come back. And I should have like kept him dumped then. So he thought this was going to be another one of those.
Yep.
And so he like went to do his partying because he finally got to be his free self instead of trying to act like me. So first like a few days he was like, well, I'm free, I'm partying. And then he's like, oh, so he starts texting me like, I love you forever. Oh, because I had a hernia. And that's how he got in my house. He's supposed to help me heal. And instead of helping me heal, he kept like putting his body weight on me, trying to like cuddle me. Like he weighed like a lot. And he was like making sure I didn't heal. So he's like, I know you have to have surgery to fix that. Yeah. So I'll be there for you because I know you're all alone. Still didn't reply. Then his sisters contacted me. Like his mom sent a package. So I just like packed up all his stuff and I shipped it back, blocked him, deleted him, blocked him off of everything. He sent me an email. And then I still ignored him until I started having break-ins. And like he was the only one that knew my house and knew where all the cameras were because I put the cameras because of all his weird shit. So he was like, he knew the cameras. I started having so many break-ins. And then somebody called my, my mailbox. And they were like, this man called, because I've had the same mailbox since 2009. Yeah. They were like, this guy called saying he's your husband. We know he's not your husband. He's trying to get this mail. So he'd literally gone through my email, knew exactly what mail he wanted to get. He'd sent an Uber. And he had some girl get on the phone saying she's me, like, oh, this is Nikki. Like, I approved, like, letting you pick up, because, like, there was credit cards. Wow. And then it turned out he had some collection notices somehow sent to my mailbox. And so he had a girl pretend to be me, and they were like, we knew that wasn't your voice. So that's when I got the restraining order, because it's like, okay, you've been breaking in, you're trying to steal my identity. Yeah. Like, it's too much. And then it just got worse from there, because he hacked me. I think I'm probably still hacked, actually, but I had to get like 3 phones. Like he was deleting evidence. He was deleting camera evidence. It was a lot.
Is he going to delete this? Are you hacked right now?
Well, hopefully he's on to the next person and he's like going to leave me alone. But I still get like weird deletions.
Yeah. It's just like, but that's kind of like, just because they move on to someone else doesn't mean that they're done with you, especially under the circumstances, how the relationship ended. Like you said, you got his car. It sounded like he had a bunch of losses back to back,
Yeah. He hits me up from so many fake accounts, and it's like, it's so obvious that they're him. It's like Snapchat, Instagram. It's like, dude, these are you. Like, they're saying only the things you would say.
Yeah.
Just stop.
They want you to say, if you want to it's like a troll under the bridge. Like, you got to call out his name to get him to leave you alone. It's just like, no, this isn't me. It's like, hey, is this you? No, this isn't me. Oops. It's just like, it's silliness though. It really is. It's silliness, but like, you got to just stifle that fire right there. You had a restraining order. And then he followed the restraining order, because sometimes they don't follow it. Sometimes they still find ways to circumvent it.
He kept violating it. But then one day I didn't show up for court, and I think he talked to the attorney, whatever happened. But like, it ended up being where my attorney started hitting on me, and it turned into this weird situation. So then I was like, you know what? He's not abiding by it. I've told the attorney all the times he's violated it. Nothing's happened. So it's like, what do I do? Like, they said basically, unless he does something really bad to me, it's basically not worth having. Yep. So I was like, police. And then the cop wrote down, he's like, the next smooth talking guy that comes along, don't just fall for the next smooth talking guy that comes along.
Yikes.
But it's true. I wanted to save that note and just be like, really facts.
Yeah, they do it though. Like I said, and a lot of times, like that cop, I don't know his intent there. But sometimes people in the legal system don't. They just like, okay, he did this and this and this. Okay, especially if you. So I know you didn't have kids by this person, but sometimes they have kids by. They have 3, 4, 5 kids by people, and then they try to get restraining orders and like so. Now, so he's abusive now, but you had 5 kids by him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We get it, and they don't listen to you. Because I saw an attorney actually posted it on TikTok, a TikTok video one time. He's like, you go into court saying this and this and this. But then the judge or some other attorneys are like, yeah, this person is abusive, but you had 5 kids by him. Like, okay, it's like, did it just start now? I said, tell people just like, you got to believe in yourself in situations like that because the justice system will not always have your back. They just won't. You know, they'll put you in untenable predicaments where you just feel like it's you versus the world, you and your kids sometimes, and things like that. So yeah. But like I said,
if you're the person that's like, he's like a skilled liar and you're like just gaslit, traumatized, you don't want to walk in and he's going to charm. And, you know, that didn't happen with me, but I think that's probably what usually happens. Yep. But it's like, I knew he deleted all the evidence of him doing all the assaults and like actually killing the dog and tasing my dog and all the like graphic stuff. So it's like, I don't even know how he did that. Ring told me that he did it from a laptop. So it's like, I saw all of the other assaults. It was like assaults against women, assaults against men, assaults against police officers. It was like 20 years, like drug crimes. And I'm like, this is a skilled person. Like, I'm not going up against like someone who just got into an emotional thing with me. This person's done this since college and now they're 40.
So you feel like a Google search or a background check, you would recommend that for people nowadays?
Oh my God, that'd be the first thing. Like, even if you first start texting, do a reverse lookup on their phone number and then go from there and do a background check. $20, save yourself a year, 2 years, your life. You could literally, your life.
Definitely could save your life because sometimes people go into the relationship dynamics. Like I was telling you earlier, I talked to somebody very recently. She said if she'd have just did what you said, it would have saved her time, marriage, kids, and things like that because she did it. She's like, let me just look this person up because I think she tried to get a restraining order against him, and they was just like, here's the rest of his stuff, and he had like 8, 9, 10 pages of crimes over the last 10, 15 years, and she was like, if I'd have knew this, I wouldn't have. They would have helped influence my decision. So yeah, a Google search their name, phone number, what you just said, background check, credit check, whatever.
Right.
You need to do with this person to protect yourself. Like nowadays, you just never know. You never know who you're dealing with. So get as much information as possible. I don't think I've heard that before. The background check. That's a good. I'll start recommending that to people because that's smart. It save you a lot of time, effort, energy, and like I say, it could save your life.
It could save your life because it's like literally $20 before you're too emotionally invested. It could be like, oh, this seems amazing. But it's really not. It's like, okay, I'm watching a movie, but this is a movie. This is not real life. This is just, he knows the script, but you see the background check and you're like, oh wait, this is a lot of felonies. This is very different than this other image being portrayed.
They portray the gods of God. They just put that God mask on. They pray. They're like, I'm praying for you and all this other stuff. And they just use God as a mask for who they really are. They're like I said, the Friday, Saturday partiers get them and go to church on Sunday and wash their sins away. They take shots of holy water on Sundays, just to wash away everything else that they did Friday and Saturday, maybe Thursday. What they're gonna do Sunday night, what they might do Sunday night. Who knows?
Well, when that man had his own bathroom in my house, and when I saw like the drugs and the paraphernalia in the bathroom. I'm like, this is why he couldn't sleep at night, because I saw all the residue of all the stuff that he literally does. And I was like, oh my God, I was so blind, because it was just like going back to the beginning. The red flags from the beginning were the truth of my intuition that I didn't listen to.
But that's why he was sleep fighting, because he was high.
Yeah, but he was wide awake. He couldn't sleep at night. Even if he took a sleeping pill, he couldn't sleep. That's
awful. It can get to the point where it's a lot of insanity going on there, which is that if you mix in that plus toxic behavior, narcissistic behaviors, it can amplify. It can make it a lot worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It reminded me of a cult. I don't know if you heard of that Vernier. He had a cult. I don't know. It's somebody Vernier, and he had like this cult, and he was branding people.
I've heard of the brand. I gotta think of that. I want to say I have, but I can't confirm that.
It's like Nexium or something. I don't want to say it wrong, but this guy we watched the documentary together, and it was like a lot of sleep deprivation. I was like, it was so much sleep deprivation with me that I couldn't think. It was almost like constantly sleep deprivation, making me work out twice a day because I'm fat, like trying to affect what I'm eating. Just like, and I was like, oh my God, this sounds just like this cult, like the brainwashing and like wearing down my mind.
Yep. Over time, there's enough time, and it will get you. It'll change your whole mindset about yourself. You start seeing yourself different, and they'll start creating insecurities in yourself that didn't exist previously. I'm just telling you, you're working on twice a day and stuff like that. You're like, I thought I was good, but now just like he just pointing out little things that you didn't know that you weren't thinking about at first. Now you're thinking about it. Now the optics are here. You see it now. You're just like, am I fat? Am I really fat? She's like, so you start posting less pictures because now you're not as confident in yourself, and just start, post pictures with me and make you look better. Now he's trying to image and things like that. It really is. It's very, very sinister and things like that. So, you said even after the relationship ended, there were a bunch of fake pages popping up and stuff, mail and stuff like that. He was messing with you, and they will mess with you for an extended period of time. Until sometimes they'll get tired, sometimes they'll try to circle back. It just really all just depends. If they see you gone or being inconspicuous, they're like, "Where you at now?" And they'll amplify. Start sending messages, things like that.
I had too many people reach out, like even like supposedly his closest friends, like, "Oh my God, he's done this, he's done that. He's like having all these like drunken, drugged out nights. He's passing out. He's like abusing the next girl and the next girl." And I was like, why didn't anyone warn me of this before? Why did I have to like delete him for all of this warning to come? And they're like, we didn't believe us, because it was unrelated people, so many people. And I was like, this person is a menace. But then you also need to get your mind together. So it's like, you can't save all those other people when you're like, I'm trying to rebuild. I had to move 4 times like in that past year, because I was like, okay, stalking, break-ins, it was too much.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I'm just someone will stalk you or whatever. Like I said, restraining orders don't stop everybody. It's literally just a piece of paper. It's not like a force field or anything. I heard somebody say the other day, like, what happens if they approach you or attack you? Are you gonna ball up the restraining order and throw it at them?
Throw it at them.
Yeah. No. I was like, what are you gonna do? So you got to protect yourself regardless, because you never know how people are going to react. This restraining orders are public knowledge too. You can search them up, so they might feel like you're trying to ruin their life by getting a restraining order. So you never know how people react.
The person that I told you that his ex made me stay longer, I had to get a restraining order against him, and when I would call the police, he would find a way to break in. So once they left, he'd be inside, and then it would be war, because it's like, now he's inside, they left, he's like, why'd you call the police? So it's not like the restraining order really helps. It's just kind of like, like that Dirty John story. It's like, it gives a background, so the next things that they do to people, they can see the history, but it doesn't really protect you. But it does like put on paper, so there's a history, so they'll be like, oh, he was a problem.
Yeah,
eventually.
It could be a deterrent, to keep them from coming back. Most people that would deter. Some people are just like, now, some people it can aggravate,
Aggravate.
I just tell people, just be careful with that situation. So would you say there are similarities between the back-to-back, toxic relationships and whatnot between these two people, these two men in general? They're like,
I think so. Yeah, because both of them did the same thing, mirroring, pretending to be very religious, because that was the image I portrayed. So they were like so religious, going to church, like, let's go to church. Like everything was just like, now I see they were mirroring because they both had this whole other side.
Mm-hmm.
And they both wanted to jump in. Like I met the guy before, the one with the ex. I met him the night at the Grammys. The next day he filed for divorce and tried to like immediately lock it down the next day.
Oh, wow.
So he was like, she's crazy, blah, blah, blah. So he immediately tried to cut her off, move in together, jump into family mode, and like, let's be married.
That sounds like that's typically, can be very, very typical of a lot of narcissistic people, where they'll hold on to what they have until they feel like they have somebody else secured, and then they'll move on. Just like, I feel like I got Nikki now, divorced, and run to you. It's just like, I'm divorced now. Here's the pay. It's free. Like, it's not even signed. It's still dripping ink, you know. And it's just, I'm divorced. I did it for you, you know, and stuff like that. And again, sometimes that type of stuff works. Like, I got divorced for you, and it type of stuff works on you because like, man, he must really love me because when he got divorced. Wow, for me. And then just like that. It makes you go hard. Like, again, it makes you stay longer sometimes because you feel like you owe them. They make you feel like you owe them for getting divorced. Like, I ended my marriage for you. And you feel like you're in debt to them for doing that, you know, but you didn't ask him to do that. You know, you didn't force him. Like, I didn't drive you to the courthouse to get divorced. You did that, you know? Yeah.
Well, you just made me think of another thing was both of them, they had so many instances of like, they were the victim of other people. So as like an empath, I mean, I'm a healer and an empath. So just in general, all these stories, I'm like, God, all these people have done you so wrong. Like, I want to be the one person to be there because all these other people have hurt you. Each girl has been so messed up to you. Even all these guys have hurt you, all these business people. That's why your money's low, because all these people stole your money. So I'm like, let me help you. Not knowing like they're the villain, but they're pretending to be the victim.
Yeah, that's the victim mode gets...
That got me.
it just is. It's just like everybody leaves me, everybody hurts me, and like they play the victim, and you want to be the one that doesn't leave them. You want to be the one that sticks by their side, that's going to be there for them. And then you realize a lot of people. I tell people to ask themselves this question: like, why does everybody? If everybody leaves you, why? Why does everybody leave you? Why are you by yourself? Yeah, you seem like such a good person. Why are you single? You know what I mean? Why are you by yourself? Like, why does everybody leave you? You know, it gets to that point where you ask the right questions to yourself, not to them, because they can lie. They can make it. Well, you gonna go ask the ex again? Like, a lot of people don't want to, like we said earlier, like, it's kind of like you gotta start interviewing people on dates, like you did, like for a job, like you're hiring them, because you really are. You're hiring this person to be a partner in your life. Background checks, things. It's like if you're running a company, Nikki is a company. She's running her company. Background check, like I need 3 references, please, and they can't be family members. You don't need that.
Who you dated.
What would your exes say about you? Well, all my exes are crazy, so they would probably say that I'm crazy. You know, so
I did that on my most recent date twice because I've learned to ask questions instead of just like, oh, listen. No, I was like, so what would your last person say? And it was like his story matched the other one. I was like, well, can I talk to her? Like, what would she say? And it's like, oh, she would say I'm a great guy, just didn't work out. And it's like, but everything you're saying is like, it sounds like you used her. And it sounds like you can read through the lines now that you've seen it, like I can. But I'm like, before I would have just been like, oh,
yeah,
he sucks.
Yeah, she sucks.
I won't be like her. I'm gonna be so good to you. She was so horrible to you.
Yep. There's like you're a healer, and it's like it's kind of, they put you in a competitive mindset. She did this, he did this to me, whatever, and then it's just like I'm gonna be better because I care about people. I'm put my energy into caring for people, and you want to be better than the last person. It's human nature, and then they weaponize your empathy. That's what narcissistic people do. They take your empathy and they weaponize it against you.
They do.
You have a lot of empathy. I'm going to use your empathy against you by telling you that I have abandonment issues because my mom was bad to me, or my ex treated me terribly. And they just suck you in. They suck you in by telling you these sob stories, and you feel bad for them. So you want to love them through it. Like you're a nurturer, like you're taking care of a baby. You're like, I'm going to nurture you back to health, you know?
Mm-hmm. The more you give, the more you lose, and they can't be replenished. It's like an empty hole. You can give and give.
Yep, 100%. It's just literally nothing you ever do for a narcissist or a toxic person will be enough for them because they'll always be asking for more. You could have worked out 4 times a day for the most previous one, and it wouldn't have been enough. She's like, you know what? 4 workouts isn't enough. Your butt's still too big. We're gonna add a midnight yoga session. You know, right before bed.
Yeah,
something like that.
You need to eat different. He actually told me I needed to take diet pills. It's like, but then because I had the flying monkeys contacting me, like the other exes and girls, and they were saying like that he went on to girls like telling them that he would buy them butt surgeries, and I'm like, so now he's trying to make them insecure by saying their butt is not big enough.
Yeah.
So
so you see, it wasn't a problem. Exactly, it wasn't an issue. He just wanted to make it an issue because like find little things that you should not be insecure about, and they make you feel insecure about them. You know, they just find like I said, I've talked to some of the most beautiful people I've seen in my life, and the person they've been with has poked and picked at them so much that they don't feel it. You look beautiful, you don't feel it anymore because that person has diminished your the way you feel about yourself. They diminish you try to give this person so much love, and you give a little less to yourself. So you start to feel a little less about yourself and things like that. And they take advantage of it. They start to play on it. They try to amplify it. It's like a seed. They plant the seed of insecurity and they start to water it every day. Water when it just grows into something it shouldn't be. Your insecurity.
Yeah, it's like a balloon.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like you're taking the air out of your balloon to try to put it into their balloon because their balloon is like, I don't know. But I noticed in pictures, I was starting to look different. And as soon as I broke up with him, because people were like, are you kidnapped? Like, you look so unhappy when you post. It looks like he's making you post. And then I broke up with him. And people were like, oh my God, you look like so happy. You look younger. You look so much better. You're glowing. And then he's sending me like DMs like, you're not glowing. It's a filter. Like all this crazy, like, take me back. Yeah, I like from a fake account. And I'm like, no, I'm actually free. Like, leave me alone.
That's why I tell people when you let go, you glow, you grow. Like I said, sometimes it's like they become anchors. They're just weighing you down.
Yes.
You know? Once they start to weigh you down, you start to lose yourself. Like I say, it don't matter where you are in life. If the wrong person will just take it away a little piece by piece. It's like a hammer and a chisel. They just chiseling away at you, and they get to you. But like I said, it's impressive how you cut them out though. Just like, hey, it's time to go.
It's time to pack up.
Yeah, it's time to pack up. It's like, what? And like I said, I'm pretty sure he thought he was gonna be. I'm pretty sure he thought he was gonna be coming back. So you said he went and partied, and then tried to circle back and end up lying and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And didn't his friend tell on him?
His friend told on him because he went to Vegas. So the friend in Vegas told me like he came here, he hooked up with this girl. He's like going out partying because he got like all these scam fraud loans. So he's like blowing the money in the clubs. And he's like, he started like wrecking cars, passing out in the clubs. What was it though? Something else. I forget what it was. Oh, but then he sent me a thing. He's like, because he tried to be like, my daughter was the reason. He's like, your daughter's sending me all of these fake accounts. So he started making accounts, DMing himself saying it's my daughter that just doesn't want us to be together. Because my daughter was getting scared. She's like, I'm going to call the cops. Like, I'm worried about you because it was like so many fights. Yeah. And he's big and violent. And so then he's like, on my way to Vegas, made an audio to my daughter, a 5-minute audio. And he's like, I can email it to you, Taylor, because he thought he was supposedly talking to my daughter in his mind. And he was talking to, I don't know who, but not my daughter. And he's like, she keeps making these fake accounts to try to catch me up as if I'm a cheater, but I'm not a cheater. So and I was like, no, she's not. Like, that's not her. So I should have accepted the audio just to hear the 5 minutes, but I was like, I don't even want that. Like, yeah, block. I blocked that new account. And I was just like, I kept trying to push forward.
Yep. You didn't need I think when you told him to go, that was your closure right there.
That was it. Because I'm like, I'm not going to get more than that. I've tried everything else. And he's like, this is the most talking I've ever done. Because I would try to talk through stuff, get him to understand. And that didn't help. Yeah. It's like talking in circles.
Yep. As I said, nothing you do will be good enough for that type of person. It just won't. You can't do enough for them. You just can't. You honestly just can't. Because they'll always be I say, it's like you're about to cross the finish line to a breakthrough. You close your eyes like you're running a race. You close your eyes like you're about to cross the finish line. You open your eyes, and the finish line is 100 meters away. You're like, what happened? It's like, oh, no, you know, yeah, what it was right here. Like, was it? And there comes the gaslighting. Was it right there? You did close your eyes, so you might have saw something that you didn't see. So the finish line is the goalpost is moved. There's always going to be, they're always going to need more. No matter how much you give that type of person, is never going to be enough. It just won't be. And I tell that to people all the time. You know, it just won't be enough. And I say it is impressive how you cut it off though. It's kind of it's equally hilarious and impressive. You know, it's just like the car getting.
I mean, because I'm sure in his mind he had to go tell people like whatever. Because the day I dumped him, he was mad that I posted a song of a guy, and he was like so jealous. He's like, "Oh, you're trying to get with him." And I was like, I literally posted that trying to get you some, like, because he was like an extra in some video or something. And then, so I actually sent him an apology that day. Like, I'm sorry you felt like that. I was trying to support you. So he probably kept that, like, I'm sorry, even though, like, as soon as he got back, I was like, please back your stuff. He didn't put all the times he texted me and never got a reply again until he was blocked. So, but then at first I was like, I hope he finds someone, and people were like, that's so evil, you shouldn't wish that on someone. I'm like, you're right, I shouldn't, but I need him to like leave me alone. So I do hope he finds someone. I hope like he works it out. I don't know if there's a way to ever get the balance mentally to I don't know.
Yeah, you can hope he finds someone else, but you don't have to wish. It's not necessarily wishing bad on someone else. Like you hope he becomes a better person for somebody else and not treat them terribly. Yeah, you can move on and not hate them. A lot of people think you have to hate the person to move on from them. You don't have to hate them to move on. You can just cut off access to you. Like, hey, look, wish you the best. Shut the door. You know that type of stuff. No, just let them drip. I just this thing is funny. It's just the whole car repo. It's just like, God, this is embarrassing. I know this. Narcissistic people that happens. Oh God, it's the ego hit. Oh, that's a narcissistic injury right there.
That was like the last 2 weeks, because that injury came, the mask came off, and his dog magically died. There was no like, my cameras always had footage of movement. Somehow I get home, he says the other dog killed the dog. No, actually the dog wasn't dead yet, but the dog's jaw was like broken. And so I'm calling the vet. I'm like, we can get the dog to the vet. And he's like, no. So he puts the dog outside and he refuses to like take the dog to the vet. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, the dog is covered in blood. And I'm like, why is there no camera footage of like if this was like some big fight and the big dog attacked the little dog, like there should be movement. And then he refuses to let the dog in. So I go out and I do Reiki on the dog. And I'm like, look, the dog is okay. Like, we could just take it to the vet. And so the next day, the dog, I think he wanted the dog to die outside, like in the cold, but I'm still getting chills. And the next day the dog was still alive. And so he took the dog and had the dog put to sleep instead of getting just like the jaw fixed. Yeah. And I'm like, and then he's like, oh, Ricky Romeo's going to haunt you. And I'm like, what? Like, you're supposedly a dog lover, but like, and I literally had to get rid of my dog because he was like kicking her and tasing her just to save her. So it's
people are, like I said, that lover of God and all things, like that the guys of God. I'm telling you, they just use it as a mask to tell you to make you think, because people see, like, especially on dating sites, social media stuff, you see the word, you see religious, you see whatever the religious denomination you are, you see typically it's Christian. We in America love, or you see Christian in somebody's bio, Christian. Oh, that's a good person. No,
exactly. And especially because some people aren't willing to say that anymore. It's almost like I'm spiritual, but for someone to be like, I am a believer, like, you're like, oh wow, me too. I go to church. Wow, this is even more rare.
I be joking with people sometimes, like, if you want to avoid narcissists online, like, just avoid people with Christian in their bio. You know, just like, you see Christian, just swipe left or right, whichever one is no. You know, swipe, just keep it moving, because you see that people put that on there to make it, because that automatically makes you think they're a good person.
Yeah, you take down your guard automatically with that. Yeah, you're like, oh, God-fearing. Yes, they are holding these standards. This is like, they're definitely going to be at this standard, but they're not.
What do you feel? What are you, like, a God-fearing man in America? Like, what are you fearing God for? Are you fearing his punishment for the horrible things you've done to people? Or are you fearing like the normal people should fear him? Like, again, it's just like God-fearing. I'm scared of God, you know, because God not gonna get me sooner or later.
Yeah, are you fearing when that day comes? You face the consequences of your actions to all these people that all the victims, you blame them as if they're the villains, and they're the ones that have like literally been the victims.
Well, exactly. So that's like I feel like your story is super empowering to people. Like, so especially the end of it right there. Like I said, I enjoy the end of it because sometimes it takes so many people a long time to do that, and then even after they do that, that person will end up back in the house somehow. They'll listen to that 5-minute voice note or something like that. They'll answer the phone one more time for some type of closure conversation. Maybe we need to talk this out. And I tell people, if you think this person is a narcissist you're dealing with, they're not looking for closure. They're looking for more access. If they ask you for closure, they don't want to close it up. They want to open it back up. They want access to you again. Let's have one so they can get in there in front of you and cry and beg and plead or whatever, and just make you feel, weaponize your empathy against you one last time. But one last cry, beg and plead, and just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And just like, we're here in this restaurant? No, on Earth. And they'll threaten to go see God. It's just like, I'm gonna go see him. Just
that was it. Like, if I can't be with you, I won't be on this earth. This was my last attempt at this life on this earth.
People.
What?
People.
Yeah, it's not.
You block all that because it's the age of social media. You can block people all you want to. If you a public figure, you have a public profile or anything, they're going to find ways to contact you. Like, it takes literally 1 minute to create a fake Instagram, a fake or something like that. It takes 1 minute to do that. And like I said, then they can always message you. It's just like you have to build up that resolve to say no. Because I feel like when you're done, you're done. You're just like, I just feel like once you get emotionally disconnected, which has to happen. I'm like, once you cross that emotional threshold where you feel like you've had enough, they don't allow back anyway. So it was like the first time you said 2 months in or whatever, it hadn't crossed the threshold. The last time you was like, yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Which is super empowering. I feel like that'll help a lot. Just help a lot of people just understand that you can say no. And it can absolutely happen to anybody. You see, like some other public figures, like some Kardashians who will
not saying no. It's like, oh, you can just have a baby with somebody else. It's fine. No, but I mean,
it happens.
The more trauma you have, that's why I think like these people target people who have trauma and empathy. And it's like, you're more willing to understand another person because you've been through a lot of stuff. So you're like, oh, you've been through stuff too. I want to be there for you because I needed someone to be there for me when I went through stuff.
Yep.
But really, they'll just rip you apart.
Yeah.
Then because if I dumped him 2 months in, and I think that after that it was revenge because he got back in. But after that, it was like, oh, you tried to dump me? Because he was like, you're so cold. Because I was really done. And then he did everything to get back in. And then after that, I was like, months of revenge. And then 4 more months until I was like, get out.
They will punish you for hurting their ego, for rejecting them and things like that. As I said, the last time after you broke up with him, if you take him back, he was going to.
Oh, it was not going to be.
Yeah, it would not been pretty. The cameras would always had to been off in that house because he'd just been. I just feel like they always escalate. The more time you take them back, the worse it gets. Especially how it ended. I just feel like it does get worse over time and things like that.
It definitely got worse. It was like 4 bottles of alcohol a night, and like the physical threats, the actual physical. It was getting worse and worse. So I was like, I'm way out here. The police aren't gonna, like, it's a matter of time.
Wow.
That's what, like, eventually they can't take it, and something switches.
It builds up. I'm just telling you, that's what I said. It builds up to that point, and then you never know what they'll do. I don't like what I've learned is I don't put what people ask me, like, will they hurt me? Will they do something to me? I don't put anything past anyone. Will they hurt you? Assume yes. Take action. Take necessary action to protect yourself just in case. Because everybody won't be, like you said, the first person, everybody won't be so lucky. You might end up, you can save your life. It's like, sometimes it is life or death. It seems like just a relationship sometimes to some people, but it can absolutely be life or death for you when you deal with just the narcissist on the worst levels, on the high levels, the more severe cases of narcissism and things like that. So it absolutely can be terrible, dealing with people like that.
Spiritual death. It's like, if they're not physically assaulting you, they're verbally, mentally, emotionally, all of those things are killing you. in a way. Like you're losing parts of yourself, because if you're just being emotionally abused all the time and put down, it's not like you're alive. Like part of you's dead, literally.
Yeah, like I said, it's scary. It is absolutely a scary world out there. People just make people earn your information. You know, if they act like if they acting too much like you, just like it's a little, you know, this is weird. There's only one me. You know, only one me. It's a little weird right now. It's just, you know, overall, I would just say trust your intuition. Like, because I feel like trusting your intuition can save you a lot of time, effort, and energy, just overall as well. You know, just trust yourself to make rational, good decisions on reading people. And if it feels weird, it is weird. And what's the worst case scenario? You miss out on this one person. There's billions of other people out here. You know, just take chances. Like go on dates. You know, like I said, just control the access to you. I'll tell you, control the access. You can't stop attracting narcissists. You don't have to allow them access to you. It's just like first date, like that's mega toxic. You don't have to have a second date. It doesn't have to be a second date.
Right.
Don't let them pressure you or exhaust you into a second date, because it won't feel right if you feel like you're giving in to them and you're not doing it willingly. It's not going to be a good date anyway. You know, just like, what am I doing?
It's like they're trying to wear you down, which I think in the past, before I did all this healing, I thought that was a kind of love. Like the more persistent he is, it's like, oh, that's passion, that's love. But it's like, no, that's like a salesman trying to close a deal, and he's still not getting that yes. So it's like, no. So the faster they want to jump in, the more you have to ask questions. And if they can't wait and it has to be now and there's such an urgency, then that's a red flag, because it's like, why does it have to be so urgent? Why can't you let time show the truth and take it slow?
If this is real, why would we need to rush it? I ask that question. If this is real, why would we need to rush it? But if you ask me that question, like, it's real, so why not rush it? We can spend more time together. But that's a boundary, though. Just asking people to slow things down or take time, that's a boundary. If they push back on your boundary, that is also a red flag, you know?
Yeah, because they're going to push more later. If they're pushing that much in the beginning, they're testing your boundaries.
Well, they set the precedence for what will happen later on. If you give in to that boundary violation at the beginning, it's going to happen again and again and again and again, because they'll just apply a little pressure to you. Be persistent, you know, persistence, and they'll wear you down to get it, turn that no into a yes.
Literally, that's it.
Just like I said, just like a used car salesman, they turn that no into a yes. They absolutely 100% will. So it helps though. It does help. It does help just to slow things down. You just get to know people. You know, get to know yourself. I feel like getting to know yourself right now, coming into your own, and you know, just applying more love to yourself, it will help you avoid people like that as well, because you know they can't emulate you. You're just like, you act too much like me.
Right. But the more you love yourself, it's like, I don't have all this time to give you because I'm focusing on me. So why do you have so much time to try to blow me up with it? Now I know it's love bombing, but it's like, why do you have so much? Like, do you work? Like, what used to be like, oh, that's so romantic, is like a red flag. It's like, why are you contacting me so much? It's like, you want me dependent on communicating with you, so then you can pull it away later.
Yep. They pull it away later. You're looking for that same kind of dependence later on. And then they won't give it to you. They'll withdraw from you. They'll withhold it from you. It's
don't get used to that, and don't even want that. You need someone who's just consistent, but also stable, and background check for sure. And then not trying to marry you day one, ask you to have a baby day one, not try to bring you a ring day one. You know, every ex is not crazy. Like, you need to have some, like, just some normal behavior, not too much.
But I also say this though, even if all their exes are crazy, that's still a red flag. Like, are you just picking crazy people, or are you driving crazy? Like, even if that's true, that's still red flaggy. I'm just like, what? So if all your exes are crazy, are you driving them crazy, or did you leave them that way? Were they way originally? So they might actually be crazy because they were in this relationship and that person drove them crazy. So there might be some truth to it, but it's also still a red flag.
Exactly, because it's like, also as a man, you shouldn't want to disrespect women and label, like, you know, just they're crazy. Just dismiss them as crazy. It's like, what part if you have any accountability, which is hard for a narcissist, what part did you take in that scenario. And it's like, oh, she was crazy. She hit me. She abused me. She whatever. It's like, but you did nothing. You just stood there praying.
They hit you for no reason. You got hit for no reason. They just woke up. They just woke up and chose violence today.
Yeah.
Man, all I was doing was cooking eggs, and they came in there and two-pieced me. You know, just like I didn't do anything.
Right. I don't see that being real. That's like something led up to her hitting you supposedly, or throwing things at you or something.
Yeah. There's always more to the story. That was like, just interview people, and I was just like you're hiring them for a job, because you really are. The job of loving you or treating you or giving you what you need from this person. It's just like, it's background checks, things like that help you in the long run. I feel like it will help you in the long run. It just absolutely will, you know. Instead of just dealing with people like that. It's just it's kind of funny though. It is. It absolutely. It's I don't know. It's just wild. So, do you have anything else you want to add to people? Any kind of parting message for people? I feel like this is going to help a lot of people. People will resonate with as well, because like the ring. I haven't heard of that one. If you're a narcissist watching this, don't take any advice and don't do the ring pops and all that. You know, don't do that.
Right. I think definitely take it slow. Let their actions match their words. Be very hesitant if someone's trying to jump in super fast and label things super fast. If they love you super fast, that seems romantic, and you're like, oh, the Notebook. But even in the Notebook, he had to chase her for a long time actually to prove himself. It wasn't like day one ring pop, they're in, then they're in the hospital bed. Like, he earned that over a long time.
Yeah.
I think a huge thing is the background check. Like, you'll save yourself so much time and energy, and just everything. You have to do the background check.
Yeah. You could, like I said, but some people do the background check, see a criminal history, and just be like, that was a long time ago. They might have changed by now. All right. They found God. Christian is in the bio. You know.
Yeah.
They were just at church Sunday, but there's horrible people are going to do horrible stuff. It's like, God does not, the guise of God again.
Well, they said Ted Bundy would actually ask for help, and he would act like something was wrong, and he'd get women to have sympathy, and then he would grab them and kill them. So it's like, you have to watch for someone who's charming and they're being deceiving. Obviously he had another intention, even though he's asking for help. He was about to help himself.
Yes. Whew. I said, trust your intuition, trust your gut, and things like that. If it feels weird, it is weird. Just trust yourself. I tell people your intuition is there to protect you. Your intuition is what keeps you from jumping off a cliff. Just like you go to the edge of a cliff, your body, your gut is just like, don't do that. You're going to die. Your heart might be telling you just like, but the love of my life is down there, and you jump. Don't listen to your heart.
You just reminded me too. I've heard that. I don't know if you saw the video where the girl was like, when you feel butterflies with a person, that's actually not a good thing. That's your nervous system warning you, because they're triggering like some kind of trauma in you, that like later they're going to play out that trauma of unhealed issues you might have. And so that's kind of a red flag. And I was like, that's interesting, because these people, you jump right in, you feel the butterflies. And some people that are safer, you're like, oh, I don't feel chemistry, I don't feel the butterflies, because they're basically just safer. So it seems boring. So you have to get to the point where safe and boring is not so bad. Yeah.
So a lot of people will say when you get out of the toxic situations and toxic relationships, because they are addictive in the beginning because of love bombing and all the other stuff. So you meet a possible non-narcissistic, non-toxic person, it seems boring. But that's actually peace. And peace, peace looks boring to people who are not used to it. Just like, that's peace right there. It's just like, oh, this is boring. There could be peace, and you're not used to peace. So I said, be okay with peace. Some people some people are addicted to chaos sometimes. They just like the chaotic relationships. A lot of narcissistic people do. It's just like, I like the toxicity. It's just back and forth, up and down. They like that control chaos and things like that.
Familiar. They think like you're feeling something, even though it's bad, and then they have the trauma bond. So it's like, look for the peace, and look for the boring, and look for the stable, and look for consistency. Don't look for the fun. The roller coaster is fun, but it has ups and downs. Don't look for that.
I did a video like that. You go on the roller coaster, you can go wee sometimes, and then other times there'll be a lot of fear and peaks and valleys. So it is there. It is a ride though. It absolutely is. But thank you, Miss Nikki, for coming on here. I really truly appreciate you. I'm gonna, like I say, I'll send this to you. I'm gonna just hit this stop record button real quick.
All right.
Let me see.